When you think of India, what comes to mind? Is it ancient traditions or futuristic tech, unbelievable diversity, or this powerful sense of unity? Well, the truth is, it's all of that at once. It's a fascinating puzzle. And in this explainer, we're going to dive right into the paradox of Indian culture and see if we can piece it all together.
So that's the big question, right? How can a single culture hold so many seeming contradictions? How can it be one of the world's oldest living civilizations and at the exact same time, one of its most dynamic modern societies? That is the paradox we're going to unpack today.
Let's kick things off with the first major contrast: time itself. On one hand, you have the roots of Indian culture stretching back more than 4,500 years to the Harappan civilization, one of the first great urban societies in all of human history. And then, on the other hand, you've got these sprawling, hyper-modern megacities like Mumbai, just pulsing with the energy of the 21st century.
Then there's the paradox of its people. India is home to an absolutely staggering number of languages, a whole host of the world's great religions, and customs that can change so dramatically from one village to the next. But somehow, underneath it all, there's this powerful sense of a single nation, a unity that's been forged by a shared history and, believe it or not, even a shared climate. And of course, there's the stereotype we all know: India as this purely spiritual land of yoga and deep philosophy. But that's really only half the story. Since ancient times, it's also been a massive center for material achievement, rigorous science, and incredibly sophisticated urban planning.
So where do we even begin to solve this puzzle? Well, the first clue is in this really unique feature of Indian culture: its remarkable ability to keep one foot firmly in its ancient past while constantly changing and adapting to the present.
Just look at this timeline. You can see this cultural thread that stretches all the way from the Bronze Age through the philosophical Vedic period right up to the birth of the modern nation and into today. So many ancient cultures have just vanished from the earth, but India's has managed to endure. How? By constantly evolving.
And this right here is a perfect example. Archaeologists have pointed out that the basic layout of a house in a modern Indian village isn't all that different from a Harappan house from 4,500 years ago. Those core patterns are still there. But at the same time, life in the cities has been completely transformed, with massive multi-story apartment buildings in places like Mumbai. Continuity and change living side by side. All right, next up, let's explore what might be the most famous aspect of India: its incredible diversity, and try to find those hidden threads that somehow create unity.
This diversity is absolutely everywhere, even on your dinner plate. Down in the coastal state of Kerala, where coconuts are everywhere, people naturally cook with coconut oil. But if you head way up north to the plains of Uttar Pradesh, mustard oil is king. It's the same country, but the local geography creates completely different worlds of flavor. It's the same exact thing with celebrations. You've got the Bhangra in Punjab, the Bihu in Assam, the Pongal festival in Tamil Nadu. They all look and sound totally different. Different music, different clothes, different steps. But here's the crucial thing: they all share the exact same purpose. They are all vibrant, joyful celebrations of a successful harvest.
And this all brings us to a really core concept for understanding India: unity in diversity. It's this idea that this immense variety isn't some kind of weakness. It's actually a defining strength, all of it held together by these deeper, unifying threads.
So what's one of these huge unifying threads? You might actually be surprised to hear it's the weather. Seriously, the monsoon climate system dominates the entire subcontinent. This shared rhythm of rainy and dry seasons, it doesn't just make farming a common way of life for everyone. It creates this collective experience, a cycle of waiting, depending, and celebrating that cuts across all those regional differences. Okay, so let's circle back and tackle that stereotype we mentioned earlier. Is India just a land of spirituality? Or is there, a little more to the story? Let's take a look.
Yeah, this is the common perception, especially in the West. It's a view that zeroes in on yoga, meditation, and philosophy. And look, those things are incredibly important parts of the culture, for sure. But focusing only on them means you're missing a massive piece of the picture. Because this has also, for thousands of years, been a land of profound scientific and material achievement. The ancient Harappan cities? They had systematic town planning, with roads at perfect right angles and complex drainage systems. Their knowledge of math was incredibly advanced. And get this,
Indian astronomers proposed that the Earth was round and that it rotated around the sun centuries, literally centuries, before those ideas were finally accepted in Europe.
So you have all these differences, right? Religious, linguistic, philosophical. So how on earth do they all manage to exist together in one place? Well, the answer seems to lie in this really deep-seated cultural philosophy of coexistence.
I mean, think about it. India is the birthplace of 4 major world religions: Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. It's also home to huge populations of Muslims and Christians. And for centuries, people from all these different faiths have, for the most part, lived together, guided by a simple but powerful principle: live and let live.
And this whole philosophy is actually baked right into the modern Indian state. Now, this is really interesting. Indian secularism isn't about a strict separation of church and state, the way it's often seen in the West. It's more of a positive concept. The state has no religion of its own, and it's committed to treating every single faith equally. So that might mean the state helps fund pilgrimages for multiple religions instead of just supporting none at all. It's all about active inclusion, not passive separation.
Okay, so we've looked at continuity, diversity, and coexistence. Let's try to bring it all together to answer the final and maybe most important question. What exactly is this Indian identity?
The real key here is to get that Indian culture has never been static. It's never been frozen in time. It's always been absorbing influences from the outside. The Kushanas brought stitched clothes, like the kurta, 2,000 years ago. Europeans introduced shirts and trousers. And today, of course, mass media brings in global influences at lightning speed. It's a culture that's defined by its ability to absorb and adapt.
Which, of course, brings us right back to the million-dollar question. After everything we've seen, all the diversity, the deep history, the constant evolution, can we even point to one single definitive Indian identity?
And here it is. This is the resolution to the whole paradox. The answer is no. There isn't one single identity. To be Indian is to hold multiple identities all at once. A person can be Bengali and a Muslim and an Indian, all at the same time. These identities don't cancel each other out. They stack on top of each other. The identity is the composite. It is the mix.
And that kind of leaves us with a final, bigger thought, doesn't it? The story of Indian culture really shows us that culture isn't some fixed object you can put in a museum. It's a living, breathing process of absorption and change, which makes you wonder, for any culture this dynamic, this alive, where does it truly begin, and where could it possibly end?